Somewhere along the way, you were taught to earn love. That kindness must be deserved. That help had to be justified. As if your worth came with a receipt. As if care was conditional. But that was never the truth. You are not a transaction. You are a living, breathing being. And that is reason enough to be held gently. Somewhere, someone convinced you that rest was laziness. That struggle was noble. That burnout was a badge of honor. So you learned to keep going. Even when your soul begged for pause. Even when your body cried out for softness.
Ow.
You thought you had to prove your pain. That tears were only valid with evidence. That suffering needed justification. And in doing so, you began to silence yourself. You stopped asking for what you needed. You stopped believing your needs mattered, but they do. Your exhaustion matters. Your loneliness matters. Your quiet hopes and aching fears, they matter. You are not a burden for needing kindness. You are human. Being human is reason enough. What if you could stop proving your worth? What if love didn't have to be earned? What if softness could simply be received? These are not indulgences. They are essentials. Like air. Like water. Like breath. You don't ask if you've deserved to breathe today. You just breathe. Kindness is like that too, meant to be given. It's meant to be received, not rationed, not withheld, not traded. You are not weak for needing care. You are brave for admitting it. For unlearning the myth of self-sufficiency. For stepping into the truth. We all need each other. The strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who dare to be seen when they do. When did we decide that love must be earned? That our scars had to be beautiful. That we had to suffer quietly to be respected. These are not truths. They are stories told by a world that fears tenderness. But you are allowed to be soft. You are allowed to be messy. To be healing. To not have it all together. And still be worthy. Still be lovable. Still be enough. Let this be a gentle undoing. Go with the pressure. Of the guilt. Of the shame that keeps you from asking for help. You are not a failure for needing support. You are simply human. And humans are wired for connection, for kindness, for warmth. You don't need to wait until you've earned rest. You don't need to achieve to deserve compassion. The moment you begin to struggle is the moment you deserve care. It's not when you've reached your limit, not when you've proven your pain, but right then, right there, because your needs are real. Your heart is valid. You don't have to collapse to be worthy of a break. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. Just as you are, tired, messy, healing, you are allowed to receive. You are allowed to be held. You are allowed to rest. You don't need to apologize for needing gentle things. You don't need to explain why you're tired. You are not a machine. You are not a task to be completed. You are a person. And people need softness. They need grace. They need kindness they didn't earn. Just because they're here, just because they exist, let that be enough. Let that be a beginning. You are worthy, even now. Somewhere along the way, you were taught to earn love. Through achievement, through obedience, through hiding your needs. You learned that being good meant being quiet, being helpful, being easy to love. So you worked harder, tried to be perfect, tried to be small. You thought that if you were kind enough, no one would leave. That if you were useful enough, you'd be safe. But kindness is not a transaction. Love is not a reward. You don't have to hustle for your worth or bleed for your belonging. You are always enough. Even when you were messy, even when you were hurting. The world may not have known how to hold you. But that's not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their capacity. People give what they know. And many are still learning how to love without conditions. That doesn't mean you were unlovable. It means they weren't ready. It means their love had walls. But that doesn't have to be your truth now. You don't need to repeat their patterns. You can unlearn the idea that you must earn rest. Unlearn the fear of being seen in your fullness. You're not here to be pleasing. You're here to be whole. And wholeness includes need, includes mess, includes days you can't carry everything. You're allowed to collapse, allowed to not know, allowed to ask for help. The voice that says you should be stronger, that's not your truth speaking. That's the echo of old survival. You don't have to listen to it forever. There's a softer voice underneath, one that says rest is not a weakness. Love is not a prize. You are not a burden. You are a being in process. Growing doesn't mean never needing. Healing doesn't mean never breaking. Sometimes healing looks like letting someone hold you, without apology, without guilt, without trying to shrink. Imagine what it would feel like to be loved in your undone moments, to be met with care, not questions, with gentleness, not judgment. That's not a fantasy. That's what you deserve, even if you've never had it before, especially then. Because you don't have to earn the right to softness. You just have to remember it's yours. Your worth is not a resume. It's not a checklist. It's not up for debate. It's not dependent on how much you produce or how little you complain. It's not based on how well you hide your pain. You are allowed to show up as you are and be met with love. And if no one has shown you that yet, let this be your first proof. You are not asking for too much. You are asking for what you were always meant to receive. Real kindness sees behind the mask. Real love stays when the lights go out. Real care doesn't keep score. You deserve all of it. You always have. You don't need to earn a thing. Just keep breathing. Keep being. That's enough. You are enough. Even now. Especially now. The world is better with you in it. Not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Your softness is not a flaw. Your longing is not shameful. Your presence is not a mistake. You are here, and that's a miracle. You don't have to prove your right to be seen. You already are worthy of love, of rest, of gentleness, of simply being held. Somewhere along the way, you learn that love must be earned, that rest must be justified, that help is a reward for perfect behavior. But those are lies told by exhaustion and fear. You were not born believing them. You were taught, maybe, by parents who only praised achievement, or teachers who only saw the quiet kids when they excelled, or cultures that glorify overwork and self-denial. So you began to tie your worth to your usefulness. It's believed that love must be repaid, that rest is laziness, that asking for help is weakness. But none of that is true. You are worthy because you exist, not because you're productive, not because you're selfless, not because you never make mistakes. You don't have to hustle for kindness. You don't have to bleed to deserve softness. Some people will only show up when you're shining. But the ones who matter will love you even when you're dim, even when you're messy, even when you're unsure. The problem isn't that you're asking too much. It's that you've been given too little for too long. That starvation has distorted your expectations. It's made you grateful for crumbs. For people who only offer warmth when it's convenient, you deserve better than that. You deserve consistent care, not just admiration, but tenderness. Not just respect, but refuge. You don't have to be anyone else to receive that. You just have to stay. Stay present. Stay soft. Stay open to the possibility that real kindness doesn't come with a price tag. That love isn't a transaction. You don't have to perform to be held. The healing begins when you stop apologizing for needing, when you stop shrinking to fit someone else's comfort, when you stop saying I'm fine through gritted teeth. You are allowed to be messy, allowed to be unsure, allowed to fall apart. That doesn't make you unworthy. It makes you human. And being human is enough. You don't have to prove your pain. You don't have to justify your softness. You don't have to become perfect to be loved. The kindness you long for is not a trophy. It is your birthright. You are not asking for too much. You are asking in the wrong rooms. Knock on the doors where compassion is fluent, where rest is sacred, where presence matters more than perfection. And if you haven't found those rooms yet, build one, brick by brick, boundary by boundary, softness by softness. The world needs more of that. More safe places, more honest spaces, more people who understand that love is not earned, it is lived. You get to live it too. Starting now, starting here, in the quiet decision to believe that maybe, just maybe, you are already enough. Not later. Not after you've fixed everything. Not after you've proven your worth. Right now. Even with all your doubts. Even with all your fears. Even with all the old voices still whispering, you must earn this. Let those voices fade. Let kindness be louder. Let it echo in your bones. Let it reshape your story. You were never meant to be your own jailer. You were meant to be your own shelter. and maybe, someday, a shelter for someone else. But it begins with you, with choosing to stay soft, even when the world tells you to harden, even when you feel unlovable, even when you're tired of hoping. Keep hoping. Keep receiving. Keep letting kindness in. It belongs to you. Even when you feel like you don't deserve it, especially then, that's when you need it most. It's when it does the most healing. And that healing is already unfolding. The voice that tells you kindness must be earned isn't yours. It's a voice you inherited. From parents, teachers, systems, from moments when your needs were too much for someone else. And so you learned to shrink them. You learned to say, I'm fine, even when you weren't. Because being fine felt safer than being a burden. You learned that love came with conditions. That help required proof. That rest was indulgent unless you collapsed. But those lessons were about survival, not about truth, not about your worth. Worth doesn't need evidence. You were born worthy. You're still worthy, even when you cry, even when you mess up, even when you feel empty, especially then. That's when kindness is not extra. It's essential. The softness you withhold from yourself is the very softness you need. You don't have to earn it by achieving, or by being the best, or by being useful to everyone else. Your humanity is enough. Your breath is enough. There's no scoreboard for deserving care. There's no final exam for being loved. Healing means noticing how deep this myth runs, how you flinch at compliments, how you deflect support, how you feel guilty for doing nothing. That guilt is not a sign you're lazy. It's a sign you were taught to hustle for acceptance. But your body remembers. It remembers what it feels like to be treated as a problem. And it also remembers safety. You can learn to give it that in small ways. A gentle walk instead of a forced run. A nap without apology. A meal eaten slowly. A reminder whispered in the mirror. I am allowed to rest. I am allowed to ask for help. I am allowed to not be okay. You don't need to become perfect to be cared for. You don't need to perform your pain or hide it. You're not a task to be completed. You are a being to be nurtured. The kindness you extend to others is not meant to exclude you. You are not the exception to softness. You are its rightful recipient, even if no one ever told you that before. Even if it feels foreign now. This is your permission to let it feel strange and still let it in. It takes time to unlearn a lifetime of conditions. It takes courage to receive, but you are capable of that. You are not selfish for needing care. You are not dramatic for needing space. You are not weak for needing comfort. You are human. Being human is not a flaw. It is a miracle. It's a daily invitation to offer grace, especially to yourself. Healing is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you were before the world told you you had to earn your place. And reminding yourself every day, I am already enough. I do not need to prove my worth to be loved. I do not need to hustle for softness. I do not need to be flawless to be held. I am allowed to be loved as I am. As I am. As I am. Even here. Even now. Especially now. Especially when it's hard to believe. Especially when I forget. I am not alone in this. So many of us are learning this together. Slowly, tenderly, one breath at a time, one kind word at a time, one softened edge at a time. You are not behind. You are on your way. Kindness is walking with you. Always. Whether you see it or not. Whether you feel it or not. It's already yours. You just need to let it in. Somewhere along the way, you learned that love must be earned, that rest must be justified, your pain must be hidden to be worthy of care. But those were never truths. They were survival tactics, formed in moments when softness felt unsafe, when asking for help was met with silence, or punishment, or withdrawal. So you learned to overperform, to overfunction, to take up less space, just to feel tolerated, not even embraced. That's not how it's supposed to be. You are not here to prove your worth through exhaustion, or to carry everyone else's weight so they'll keep you around. Real love doesn't demand your depletion. It doesn't ask you to sacrifice your peace for proximity. You don't have to be perfect to be held. You don't have to smile to be seen. You don't have to explain your hurt to deserve kindness. There is a kind of care that asks for nothing, that meets you where you are, that sits with you in the mess without trying to fix it or you. That kind of love exists, and you are allowed to receive it, even if you don't think you've done enough, even if you can't give anything back. You don't need to be useful to be valuable. You don't need to be strong to be worthy. There is no audition for belonging, no final exam for being loved. You're allowed to be tired, to be unsure, to be exactly where you are, still be enough, still be held, still be loved. This is hard to believe when you've built your identity around being the one who doesn't need help, when your worth has been measured by what you do for others. But worth is not a currency. It's not a debt you repay. It's the quiet truth of your existence. Unchanging. Unconditional. No matter how messy your healing looks, no matter how much you think you failed, you are not a burden. You are not too much. You are not unworthy of gentle care. The ones who love you well won't keep a scorecard. They won't ask you to shrink or to smile when it hurts. They will make room. They will listen to the words you haven't said yet. They will stay, even when you have nothing to give. And if you don't have those people yet, that doesn't mean you're unlovable. It just means you haven't been met with the right kind of care. Keep your heart open, but protect it from those who make you earn every crumb of affection. You deserve more than that. You deserve presence, consistency, kindness without performance, rest without guilt, love that doesn't ask you to disappear. Sometimes the first person who needs to offer you that is you. To give yourself what no one gave you is to say you are enough and mean it, even when you're not achieving, even when you're not fixing, even when you're just breathing, because existing is enough. Being is enough. You are allowed to be human, to be a work in progress, to not have it all together, still be someone worthy of love. Start there. Start with a hand on your own heart, with a breath that says, I don't have to prove anything. I just have to be, and I am. That's enough for today. That's enough to deserve kindness. You don't have to give more or be more. You already are. You already matter. The rest can come in time. But this moment, this you, is enough. Let that truth soften you. Let it undo the fear. You don't need to earn your way home. You're already there. You're already loved. Maybe no one ever told you this, but kindness isn't a transaction. It's not something you barter for with perfection or performance. It's a language your soul already speaks. Even if the world forgot how to listen. You don't need a reason to be cared for. You don't need to qualify or prove your pain with evidence. The ache in your chest is enough. The tears you hide are enough. You are enough. Even when you feel invisible, especially then, you're not asking for too much. You're asking for what's human. For softness. For space. For someone to say, you don't have to do this alone, and mean it. The truth is, love that's real doesn't make you beg. It doesn't hide behind silence or disappear when you're not useful. It stays, not because you've earned it, but because you exist. That's the kind of love you deserve. It's the kind that shows up, that waits with you in the dark. It doesn't flinch at your sadness, that doesn't leave when you're messy. You are allowed to ask for that, to want it, to expect it. That is not selfish, it's self-respect. The hardest part may be unlearning the lie that says you must carry everything alone. Your value is in your usefulness. That being strong means never breaking, but you are allowed to fall apart, to crumble and still be whole. There is a sacredness in your softness, in your reaching, in your asking. You don't have to keep pretending. You don't have to hold it all together just to be loved. Real love can hold your pieces. Real love stays through the storm. And if no one ever showed you that before, let today be a new beginning. Let it be the first breath of a different story. One where kindness is not earned, it is given freely, offered gently, received without guilt. And yes, you are allowed to receive it, even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, even if all you can say is, I'm tired. That's enough. It's everything. Let this be the moment you stop apologizing for your humanity, for your limits, for your softness. Let this be the breath where you start believing that care can be unconditional, that your worth doesn't rise and fall with your productivity, that love doesn't disappear when you're at your lowest. You are worthy, still, even now, especially now. Rest is not laziness. It's not failure. It's a return, a way of coming home to yourself, to your body, to your breath, Every inhale a reminder. I am here. I'm enough. Every exhale. I don't have to do more to be loved. We're not behind. You are not broken. You are not alone. You're on time, on path, in progress. You don't need to rush. The softest changes are often the most powerful. Like a flower blooming in silence. Like light slowly returning to a dim room, you are allowed to move at your own pace, to heal on your own timeline. To say no, to take up space, to need, and to be met in that need with love. Not judgment, not conditions, just presence, just kindness, just the simple truth. You are allowed to be loved as you are, always. This is quiet philosophy, where thinking isn't loud, and life doesn't need to be either. Subscribe if you haven't already, not for noise, but for something you can actually feel.